So I just kind of want to show you a little bit about something that my parents sent me. They sent me like a random collection of gifts. It's like a random collection of birthday gifts, gifts for Christmas in advance, I think, and I was so grateful for that. And one of the things that they gave me was this like really nice phone stand, which actually something that I could use to put my phone. I could put my phone on this when I'm recording myself for a YouTube video. So looks like I don't have to prop my phone on a stack of books now, and it's much more stable, and I don't have to worry about my phone falling down from my books. And I'm really happy about that, and I am so grateful again. And yeah, this is something I got today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of Bookish avec moi, and this week is special. And honestly, I'm not even sure why I called it special. Probably because I actually had a fairly big book haul. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. But first, as usual, I'm going to talk about the books that I have read. I'm still reading this one actively by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is Mary Barton. Really incredible book. I was supposed to read one chapter yesterday, but I did not. So I'm going to catch up on 2 chapters today. So essentially, this book is just wonderful. I love it very much. It was written in the Victorian era. The setting is completely different from what I'm used to, so that's wonderful. It concerns this young woman named Mary, who lives with her father, and her father does something kind of stupid, and you'll see what that thing is. But it essentially involves like this really serious crime, and that crime has just been committed in this book. So I have just kind of like passed the juicy bit of this book. I am already more than 50% of this book. I think I'm roughly at 70+%, at least based on Goodreads. So I am planning to read more tonight, hopefully. 2 more chapters, catching up on those 2 chapters, because this book is just so wonderful. I expect that this book is probably gonna be a 5-star. That's just my expectation. I'm not sure how the ending will be like, but so far it has been a really wonderful ride. Another book that I am incredibly loving and enjoying right now is this one by Elena Ferrante. This is The Story of a New Name, which is the second book in the Neapolitan novels. The first one was, of course, everyone's favorite, My Brilliant Friend, which was obviously my favorite. And this book is no less. I love this book so much. I'm reading this book as a buddy read with Kirsten, from Kirsten0929. That's her IG handle. And we had like a really nice discussion about this book over on Voxer. This book has that really strong soap opera appeal to it. And it really shows like a lot of the moments in this book. It feels just so dramatic, and I wouldn't say over the top though, because most of the time they just feel like really organic. Like you could totally believe that those things happen. You don't feel like they are just things that happen in TV, in shows, in movies, in over dramatic books. Like those things feel real. And one of the things that particularly strikes me as like really real is the relationship between the two main characters, Elena and Lila, who are two girls growing up in around 1950s, 1960s Naples, Italy. And their relationship, their friendship is just so juicy because it's not all warm and fuzzy, but it has like a lot of jealousy in it. But at the same time, they are in such a state that they kind of always need each other. They kind of love each other. They're kind of drawn towards each other, even though they're kind of different. But at the same time, there is also this constant, really kind of like a cold fight between these two girls. There is competition. There is this sense of rivalry, and so it kind of makes their friendship like really, really complex. And I just really enjoyed this one. And it kind of makes me feel, about how your own real life relationships can, usually, not just can, but usually have this kind of feeling, attached to it. Like you don't feel all love and fuzziness for your friend like literally all the time. There are going to be things that you find are going to be kind of like prickly stuff in your relationship, and it makes sense. And finally, you have like a book that talks about that kind of relationship. At least for me, I just find it like really it's like a really incredible luck for me to discover this book and read about the relationship, the friendship being written that way. And I just feel so happy, if you know what I mean. I'm just so happy that and I just devoured this book so much. And so we're gonna read this book for the entire month of November. I think my November is going to be kind of nice with this book. Probably going to be a 5-star as well. So I am so excited. Moving on is actually a book that I'm reading also with two bookstagrammers. In fact, one is Wiebke from Book Life of a World Thing, and also Kristin from Need My Books and Coffee. This is White Teeth by Zadie Smith. And for this one in particular, I am a little bit slow because this past week has been another rough week for me. And you might not believe it, but you might believe it because it's in my channel's name. But on the 5 days, the 5 weekdays, Monday until Friday, I only read 1.5 chapters of one book. So you can kind of imagine that I had like really unproductive weekdays. And it was kind of disheartening, a little bit, I don't know, unsettling. It was horrible. Okay, it was not fun because I had to think about other stuff, and I didn't have enough attention and energy to read books. But my weekend, I managed to kind of at least power through 2 novels, which were this one and this one. And so unfortunately this week I kind of neglected this one a little bit, and that's why I got a little bit slow. But I am going to catch up on this, White Teeth. I'm going to catch up on the 2nd and 3rd sections. So yeah, it's going to be a very White Teeth filled week, this coming week. So I'm looking forward to that. I really am, because I do think that this book is just really lovely. It feels like this TV series, it feels like watching a series. The way that Zadie Smith writes, the characters, the settings, the story, it feels really vivid, and you could almost imagine how it looks. You can almost have that visual experience with this one, and it's gorgeous, you know, and it's funny too. There are places where it is really funny, so I think that this one is going to be a good one as well. Well, just quickly, I am also reading other books, but probably not as much as those three books. And the other one that I'm currently reading is Silas Mana by George Eliot, and this one is a pretty small book, which was actually one of my TBRs for Victober, but obviously it's November, but who cares? This book is pretty nice actually. Um, so in this book, the main character has been kind of uh, screwed over by his friend. So, you know, I mean, who doesn't like that kind of story, right? I mean, I know that I certainly like that kind of plot point. And I think that's the point where we will see that, you know, how Silas Mana becomes the meanie that he is in this book. Um, but yeah, a book about a cynical person, a meanie. It's nice, you know. It's lovely, but I've not read much actually, so I can't say much, you know. So yeah, I'm going to reserve my judgment, good or bad. And I am also continuing my kind of project, a tiny project that I started excitedly, albeit a little bit slowly. And that is my double shot featuring two books by Barbara Kingsolver. The first one is The Poisonwood Bible, which is actually the book that I read first. Then I'm also reading Prodigal Summer, of course, also by Barbara Kingsolver. But I just started with this one, and I do think that this one, my first impression on this, I think that the writing is pretty nice. Um, the first character that I met in this book is named Orleana Price, and that sounds so much like the name of a character from a soap opera. So yeah, that's my first impression. So those are the books that I'm currently reading for this last week. Um, well, next is, of course, like I said earlier, my book haul. It's a fairly big book haul because I bought the books from two sources, but those two sources are kind of related to each other. One is actually from Big Bad Wolf Sale, which was actually this sale that is done kind of every year in Malaysia. Before this, they would conduct a sale at, you know, physical places and convention centers in different cities in Malaysia, and so you would be able to kind of visit the cities and go to the sales and get your box full of books. And but this year, because of the pandemic, they had the sale online, and I managed to snag some books that I was kind of interested in. There were, of course, books that I was interested in, but I missed out on those because, you know, the sale started before my payday, and I just wanted to restrain myself, so I didn't do any shopping before my payday. I only waited until I got my paycheck for the, you know, shopping, and as a result, I missed on some books. But that's fine because I'm happy about these books that I got. So I'm just gonna show you one by one because I'm really excited. The first one is actually, you know, I just want to say that this one was a cover buy because I just love this cover and I just love this, you know, red spine vintage. I love those things. It is actually one of my childhood dreams. I can't say if it's my childhood dreams. I only had this aspiration of collecting red spine vintage while I was a teenager, so it's not exactly a childhood dream, more like a teenage dream. So this one is Patrick White's The Vivisector. So I think this one is going to be a story about a painter, which, you know, to be honest, is not something that I personally would find super compelling. like, okay, fine. But maybe it's gonna be a surprise. I don't know. It is a pretty big book, but I just love this cover so much, and it's the Red Spine Vintage. But first and foremost, this cover just looks amazing. After that, I also kind of wanted to try something a little bit different, and so I got this spy thriller novel by a Chinese author. This one is by Mai Jia. This is In the Dark. So this book was actually published by, let me see, I can't remember. This book was, no. So this book was actually translated by Christopher N. Payne. It was published in the year 2003 in Mandarin. So, you know, this is my first time reading a spy thriller originally written in Chinese. I'm not sure how the experience would be, but I'm excited about that. That's why I kind of bought this book. Another book that I got was something that I've seen for quite a while now, but finally I saw it at a store, and this is Charles Portis' True Grit. And I don't have a lot of clues on what this story is going to be about. I think it's going to be about this girl whose father was killed, and she wants to get revenge, and the way that she does that is by getting this other guy, this really like rough-ish kind of guy to do it. And it's a Western story, so there'll be like, you know, Western-ish things. So yeah, it's I think it's going to be interesting. I know there's a movie for this one. I've seen the trailer, but then again, I'm not a movie buff, so I've never seen the movie. So I am going to read this story, and we'll see how it goes. The other one that I got is Jonathan Franzen. This one is The Corrections. Actually, previously I bought one book by Jonathan Franzen. It was called Freedom, but I've not read that. I also got that one kind of cheap. So this one was also another cheap find, but actually this was the one that I wanted to read more. You know, I was more interested with The Corrections because I heard about The Corrections first. So this one I think is a domestic fiction. As for the details of it, I'm not sure how the family is going to be like, but it's a domestic fiction. People talk about this, so obviously I kind of bought this book because of, you know, past hype as well. So yeah, this was a hype-induced purchase. And last but not least, this one is also kind of partly hype, also partly due to the fact that it won a literary prize. It won the Booker Prize in 2010. You know, if you know your Booker Prize, you know which book I'm talking about. So this one is Howard Jacobson, The Finkler Question. So those were the books that I bought from Big Bad Wolf. Now it's time for the books that I bought from Bookxcess, which actually, you know, contain more interesting titles compared to the ones that were sold you know, during Big Bad Wolf sale. Even though the books that they sell during Big Bad Wolf, they kind of come from Bookxcess as well. It's just that they were sold at even cheaper price during the sale. So I have these books right here, very lovely stuff. The first one is actually J.G. Ballard's Vermilion Sands, and I have this vintage future edition, which is really interesting because it has this like really fun cover. So I'm not sure what these things are called, but you can play around with it, as I later found out. You have this like piece of plastic with some vertical lines on it, and you have this image, and you can kind of move it around, and then you have like this image changing, like the stuff appearing. I'm not sure if it translates well into a camera, but it's a really nice visual thing, you know, really fun visually. So I like this cover. I really love this concept of the cover. So Vermilion Sands is a science fiction short story collection I thought it was a novel, but turns out it was actually a short story collection. Another one that I got was Faces in the Water by Janet Frame. This one is published by Virago, and it has this like really beautiful cover. And when I got this book, I didn't realize that there was this like really nice details on the cover. Like you can see faces, and so you can kind of like see this ripples, kind of like water-ish ripples, and you have faces over here. So it's kind of like faces in the water. It's a nice detail. It's a little bit creepy because not only you have it front page, front cover here, you also have it at the back cover. So yeah, that's a lot of faces. And to think that when I was younger, I used to have this nightmare when I actually like saw many faces on the wall. You know, I'd rather not talk about that now. Moving on is actually a really strange purchase. Why? Because I actually bought like 2 books from the same author, and they are actually an author that I've not read before, but I also have bought another book by that author previously, and this one is by Pat Barker. So I bought The Ghost Road before, and I was kind of interested with that one, but it turned out that The Ghost Road was part of a trilogy, and I thought that maybe I just want to kind of try the experience of reading a trilogy, and since I got the 3rd book, I might as well just got the, just try and get the 1st and 2nd book. And so I got, okay, the 1st book is Regeneration, and the 2nd book is The Eye in the Door. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to like these novels, but they are war fiction, and I kind of like war fiction. And plus, these covers, they are just super weird. Like, I know they are war fiction and all that, but I would expect war fiction to have grittier, rougher covers, instead of covers with really pastel colors like this. It's just weird. It looks like children's books, with this really light, fluffy imagery. You have like kind of, military soldier-ish image like this, and this is gloomy. Yeah, this imagery is gloomy, but the colors they look super pastel. It's weird. There's a lot of conflict in these covers, but it was part of the reason why I bought it, because I guess that's the magic of covers. Next, I got 2 books by A.S. Byatt. I read Possession before, and I love it, and so I got some more by her. This one is Still Life, and I think Still Life is part of a series, and I think Still Life is kind of like a sequel in that series. So I'm not sure if I'm to read Still Life first. If you have read this book, I'm not sure. What do you think? Is this a good to be read as a standalone book, or should you read like the book before that? I'm not sure. Let me know. But I just got this book without knowing that it was actually a sequel of another book. Another one that I got was The Biographer's Tale, and interesting something about these 2 books by A.S. Byatt. When I was at the website, I actually saw that these books, were featured on the catalog for different editions. Basically, these 2 books kind of have the same consistent design, which suggests that they come from like this the same series of cover designs, and I wanted to get that. I wanted to get that kind of consistent design and have them on my shelf so that they look really nice. Instead, I got the editions of these books, both of them of different, like really different cover designs. So I'm a bit disappointed by that, but it's not a big deal. But this is not the first time where, you know, I got a completely different cover that than the one that I expected to get, you know, based on the stuff that I saw at the catalog. It's frustrating sometimes, because sometimes you just want to get the book because it was kind of like a cover buy. You know, you just want to get the book for the cover. You want that aesthetic, but you know your want was completely ignored, and that's one of the things that infuriates you. So lastly, I also got these two books. So these two books are in fact from the same kind of collection. So they have like consistent cover designs. Look at these. These ones are really beautiful, right? I just love this minimalist, kind of like really simple and sleek design. The first one, okay, these two are cult classics, Atlantic cult classics. So the first one is A.D. Miller's Snowdrop. So I think this is a crime fiction. Some guy gets murdered, I think, and yeah, it's a crime fiction. This cover is just beautiful, because I thought that it was going to be just an emboss, or kind of like just an image, but as it turns out, is actually this. And you have this kind of, you know, cover. I am a little bit worried that this cover gets ruined really easily, particularly these really sharp corners. They get folded really easily, you know, and you get a little bit rough with them. But I guess, you know, you just have to handle them with some extra care. But yeah, this book is really beautiful. Another one is by Sophie Oksanen. This one is called Purge. And I've never read anything by Sophie Oksanen. And she's a Finnish Estonian writer. So I'm not really familiar with writings by authors from that part of the world. So this one is going to be something new for me, and I'm really excited about this. So this one was originally written in Finnish, if I'm not mistaken. And it was translated by Lola Rojas. This book was originally published in 2008, and it has this also really beautiful cover. This image of a bug-like creature, and also, you know, a hole. And you have like this really beautiful green image inside. So yeah, I just love this cover very much. But yeah, I'm already quite worried because this part is already going to get folded. This really sharp corner here. It's just scary, you know. But anyway, really beautiful. I just love this color scheme, red and green. It's like Christmas. So yeah, that's it, my early Christmas in November. I'm not playing any Christmas songs, but maybe I will soon. And also, talking about Christmas, I'm really sad because I expect that I won't be able to get, you know, to go home on Christmas because of COVID. Yeah, and I'm not sure what I will be doing on Christmas Day. You know, we still have like more than 1 month to go, but I just want to say that I love Christmas very much, and I very much look forward to it. And especially here in Malaysia, when it's Christmas, it's actually the rainy season. So Christmas to me it corresponds to this really cozy and cool weather, and you know, you get to snuggle in your blanket or comforter in bed in the morning, except that this time I'm going to spend it alone, I think. Before this, I could kind of like spend it with my family, and you know, sometimes we would open gifts and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, maybe this time I'm going to gift myself something, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. If I were to impose another, you know, book buying ban. But then again, I kind of said that I wanted to, you know, exercise a book buying ban. But look at this. This shows how awesome the progress of my book buying ban is. But anyway, I'm just so happy, and I'm really happy. So I'll see you again in a different video. I hope you guys are happy too, and if you're not, I hope you'll be able to find a way around it and hope for the best. And I guess that's it, and I'll see you in a different video. So thanks for watching. Take care, and thank you. Bye.